I'm Jana. Nice to meet you.
Satinder.
And today we are going to talk about your career.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you. I'm not nervous at all, so go ahead.
Well, yeah, I'm very, very impressed with all of your stuff. So at the moment, because we just sort of touched on it very briefly, but you've kind of, because of we're in the middle of doing, as we know, we're in the middle of doing Beetlejuice, you're in the middle of doing Gladiator. And you've got 6 weeks filming left to do?
Yes, more or less, yes.
So at the moment, you're just waiting for the strike to be resolved?
Exactly.
Come on, guys.
Soon. Come on, make the deal.
Exactly, so we can all get back to work.
Yeah.
And Satinder, you're teaching here at the moment.
I'm teaching here, yeah.
Which is brilliant.
Just waiting for the strikes to end again and to jump on the next thing.
And you two have been working together?
Yes. Well, I met Satinder on Napoleon, yes.
Yeah.
I was very lucky. Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, I was brought in to co-supervise Napoleon, and that's where we met and worked together on designing and making the characters and the effects for it.
Yes, it was, I have to say, it was quite intense, quite crazy. And I mean, Satinder was incredible because working under such a pressure is not easy. So, I was very impressed with what you deliver and how you deliver. And I told you that. So it's like, I was very lucky to have someone like Satinder, with us.
Well, I was part of a big team.
Yes.
Random the misfits.
Yeah, but it was incredible. It was really incredible. So, if you have I think, personally, if you had the wrong person, I don't know what could happen because, as it was difficult because you had very short time and as we know, really like to change his mind quite a lot. So you have to be ready for everything, and I mean everything.
And this is Gladiator that we're talking about.
This is Napoleon.
Oh, this is Napoleon.
Yeah.
So, because you work with Ridley Scott a lot.
Yes.
Can we just go into what's it like working with the legend that is Ridley Scott?
Well, I think first of all, I was very, very lucky to work with Inansho, which she used to work with Ridley. So I've been working with Tina for I would say 4 years, 5 years as our key, and she's been like a mentor to me. So
we love Tina Ansho.
Oh, she's just the best. And so because of her, at one point, we kind of passed the situation to me, and I started to work with Ridley because of that. So, but it was quite nice to work with Ridley before as a key, so not necessarily with the pressure, be the designer, and see how the machine was working. And what
is his kind of ethos in working? Is he script led or does
he knows exactly what he likes and what he doesn't like. He loved the vision. If there is a way, we always use the same people because if he trusts you 100%, and which is a good thing. But on the other hand, is say I want this and I have to be. So you have to know understand exactly what he means and what he wants straight away and deliver it at a very high standard. So it's not like wishy-washy. So it's intense, but it's very rewarding, and I think it's quite nice always to be on YouTube. I think it's very important to never feel relaxed on a job, and it really pushed me to do better and better and better every time. So to put me in a new challenge, so it's never boring. And I always say that he's the youngest director I ever worked because he's so bold and he's not afraid about anything. So he likes to risk, he likes to push, and he give you a lot of freedom artistically. So it's nice. I feel I'm very lucky. So. Yeah.
And where was Napoleon filmed?
So I was hoping to be in France.
Because that kind of makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That was my biggest hope, but no. So we shot mostly all over the place in the countryside in the UK. I mean, literally all over the place. Yeah. We're staying 4 days somewhere, another 3 days someone else. So it was a lot of logistic about moving in, moving out. I mean, it was tough. But in beautiful location, really, really beautiful. I mean, you would never tell we weren't in France. I mean, they did an incredible job. And then we shot the last part in Malta. So you know, the Santa Helena, all the exhale of Napoleon, all this part of his life, and in the very beginning of his life as well was there, which was good. But to me, I mean, the biggest challenge was the fact we had humongous amount of crowd. I mean, huge. Like, I'm talking about daily, like 500 people.
How many?
500 daily.
500.
There's like 100 horsemen as well.
Because plus stand, plus and
Was that Camilla's? No, is it Devil's Horseman?
oh god, and he doesn't. So really, if he can, he doesn't like to use visual effects. So everything.
I mean, the trailer, just the trailer, is like.
Yeah.
Oof.
So you know, it was a massive crowd team. I mean, I was again very lucky to have Julia Vernon, who was supervising her makeup, and she had an incredible group of people with her. So even this channel, and as I said to you, because Ridley, he is very fast. You know, usually when you read like a kind of call sheet, you know, it's when they tell you what you're doing during the day. You know, in a normal movie, you have like, you know, one scene, two scene, and usually they're like scene in continuity, which is means they're, you know, they're attached to each other, so you don't have to actually, they're like in continuity. With Ridley, you know, you can really do like 3 different scenes, 5 different scenes a day, not necessarily in continuity and not necessarily the same situation. So you find yourself in the position where you have to change your actor look, and not just the actor, but all the crowd look during the day, and it's massive. I mean, it's a lot of work.
Because you're going through quite a long. I mean, obviously we haven't been able to see the film, but I take it you're going through quite the whole of that.
Well, we start from when it's born to when he dies, so it's a very long stretch of.
God, so it's
time.
a proper aging.
Yeah.
Was you doing aging as well, Satinder?
We were going to look at doing some aging on Joaquin, but then it was dropped. Like when I joined it, I did ask if anything was going to be going on Joaquin, and he didn't want to have anything.
We basically prepare for everything, because I said to Satinder, I'd rather have everything ready to go just in case. And again, this is something I'm used to reading. You have to be ready for any kind of situation.
Yeah.
But Joaquin said, you know, to be honest, I think we can play just with makeup and, you know, with the wigs, and to be honest with you, I totally agree, and you know, I have a background of prosthetic. You know, when I was young, I started in prosthetics, so it's something I'm aware, something I know. Of course, not as good as Satinder, because this is job, so it's different. But I have, you know, I have my background, so I can talk about prosthetic. I can apply prosthetic, and I have knowledge about prosthetic. And what I said to Joaquin, I said, because I think, and this is my approach to make, of course, I think it's always very nice to look at your actor and understand what is necessarily and what is not necessarily. Because I don't like people to be, I say, like, take out of the movie because of my actor look. Do you know what I mean? It's like I want them to feel the actor is in the movie. It's not like the actor in the movie.
You don't want it to be distracting, do you?
Well,
I mean, sometimes it becomes such a big thing.
Yeah, unless it's necessary, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, depends of the movie. So I say to Joaquin, I say, I really don't, I mean, if I want to win an Oscar, I would definitely put on you a piece of like fake news. I would definitely do it if I want to win an Oscar. I want to be sure to have like a nomination. But because I have to be true to myself, I think you don't need it. I think I can play with your nose shading and give you that kind of look without going to prosthetic. And I want you to be Napoleon. I don't want you to be Joaquin with the fake nose who played Napoleon, because I don't think it necessarily in the situation. If you had a different nose, probably yes, but not in this situation. So that's why then we decide to leave it and just to go with a different kind of idea of the look, basically.
I think there's also that element. It's like you've already touched on that thing that with working with Ridley Scott, you've got the call sheet and you can jump all over the place. So you're jumping through so many different looks.
Yes.
And these are all things you've got to take into account when you're designing. Is that sort of thing of how much can you do to an actor in one day, and there is an element
Looking
of
good
understanding
as well. Yeah.
your director,
Yeah.
isn't there, and your actor's needs, and that thing of actually, you know, you can change wigs around much quicker sometimes than, you know, once you start playing with putting on prosthetics and things like that. You've got to get the prosthetics off, you've got to let the skin settle, you know, you can't always just like do multiple looks during the day, so you've got to take all of that into account.
Absolutely.
You also mentioned something that was kind of that was very interesting before we started, that he will work with multiple cameras.
Yes.
So you don't know, I mean, like I say, I'm just going by what I've seen on the trailer,
Yes.
but I mean the battle scenes themselves, I mean, look incredible.
Yes.
And it's just like, so do you know where these cameras are going to be?
So the thing is, and again, this is the way I work. You know, on such a big movie, usually, especially because it's not easy, especially, you know, usually if you design, it's very hard to look after the number one and number two because you have so much going on.
So busy.
In this situation, I realized that I couldn't put anybody else in that kind of position because it would be tough and horrible because, as you say, there is so much going on. So I was always on set, and I was always have my team with me, and it's all about planning where to go. So when we do the battles, for instance, the crowd, they used to have different team for different cameras. So they were following the camera. So it was like a leader of camera A, leader of camera B, and they would just follow the camera and be behind the camera, like very old school, not on the monitor. But as you rightly say, because we work with so many cameras and so fast, the actor always have to look perfect. Because unfortunately, you know, you have different angle where the camera is going to see the actor. So if it doesn't look perfect, one of the camera is going to see something actually is not looking right. You know, sometimes like in a normal movie, you say, okay, I can see it's like here, so I can just, you know, adjust what I can see. With Ridley, the actor has to be always completely perfect because it's gonna say, oh, you know, yeah, it's, you know, it's very far, don't worry, and then you turn, it's like a massive close-up with a camera B, like
Never trust.
Yes,
Never
it's
trust
like,
that
oh,
it's
God.
as big as a wide shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not when there's
So
more than one camera.
it's fast. You have to be fast, and you have to be really committed to the job. That's why every time I finish like a job, I always go like a fever, like a cold, like, you know, I'm totally run down. And I'll be a control freak, as you know. So I quite like, you know, to not to control, but I quite like to keep an eye on everything, which, you know, is just keep an eye because they're always so good. I don't have really to keep an eye, but you know, I quite like to.
Yeah, but you have to have eyes in the back of your
Yeah.
head. I mean, when you've got multiple cameras going, I mean, it really is that thing, and you can't express enough to your team. Obviously, you have a team that you trust implicitly, but you cannot express enough to them that your actor has to be pitch perfect all the time, ready to go, and the camera could be anywhere, 360 around them.
Yes.
So that's a really good thing. So Satinder, so how long did you guys get to prep for this? And was it a lot of bodies and what?
So I came on later into it. So I came on December, and I think the prep started much earlier than that.
Well, it was a little bit bizarre because we started prepping in. I started prepping in, I believe, was like October, but then we have to stop because of COVID. So we did like a lot, like a month of prep. And then, you know, COVID again started off. So they say, you know, we're going to stop.
And there was also a script change as well.
Yes,
so
and then they were like, you know.
And this was the second COVID world,
This
wasn't
was
it?
second COVID.
2021.
And then I went back like in January. But I think probably you start like prepping in December for January, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So it was weird because we had almost like two different preps.
So we had that moment where we had the hiatus of it.
Yes.
But then the first big day of shooting was at Somerset House.
Which
and
was
the dates-
humongous.
And the dates didn't change for that. We only had that one like slot to work at Somerset House, and the actor who played Robespierre got changed.
That's quite, yes,
so
that's
then
quite
I had to
important,
hunt
yes.
down a life
He
cast.
got changed. What in the
Yes.
last?
Yeah.
And what was you doing on him? That
He gets in history gets beheaded, and
And he had like he had
He had
like
a-
a
he had a-
beautiful kind of soft acne, isn't it?
Yes, so he's got like
So-
a pitted skin.
Which was, I mean, he did such a beautiful job. Again, it was a little bit of process, but in the end, it looked so beautiful. It really did. Yeah.
So you've done all of the prep for this for the actor to look the same as the character, and then they changed him at the last minute.
Yes, so that was changed. And then,
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
No,
not at all.
no.
It was the case of I was told get a lookalike head as best you can, but I kind of didn't want to turn up on the first big day of
Yeah.
our prosthetics with a lookalike head. So I managed to track down his live cast, and we turned up with an actual likeness body to be guillotined, and it was pretty crazy because the first day we had all these fake bodies to be guillotined, a working guillotine in Somerset House.
And Maria Antonietta, she looked so beautiful. I mean,
Yeah.
it looked such an incredible job on her.
Yeah, but he also gave us a complicated wig to try and find as well.
Yeah.
It was like, yeah, we've got this beautiful wig we have to now track and find, and we used your wig maker in Italy. He was brilliant, and we managed to get a likeness wig to then put on our dummy. But yeah, that was a pretty crazy start to the...
But what I was very impressed about Satinder and still with him, it was like I used to come and see him and say, oh, I need like such and such for like something you will ask for like, in a month. Say, for next week. And I say, okay. and again, I mean, it was lovely the fact it was very inspiring the fact you were so committed and so I would say like you rightly say, you could kind of show up with like a shitty ad. They say, you told me last time, so this is what I found. Sorry, this is what you're gonna get. But you always try to do everything you could to actually give and provide the most, upskilled work.
Accurate version, yeah.
So
But I think very much you
and-
saved me once as well, where Ridley had cut a prosthetic from the shoot, and you said make it anyway because he
Yeah.
might ask, and
Yeah.
he did.
And he did, yeah.
And he gave me 15 minutes to stick it on whilst I could hear
Yeah.
him on the radio.
Yeah.
And this happens so often, doesn't it? I mean, we've all been in those situations where the director who's always said, "Oh no, we'll never need that." I mean, I've been putting swollen eyes on at the side of stage, which, as you know, I'm not the best at doing. And I'm literally going, "Oh my god."
Yeah, but yes, I think that's why it's quite nice when you work quite often with the same director.
Yeah,
more or less what to expect.
you do
And
get
that's why,
a
I
shorthand.
remember I say to you, you say no, just do it because you never know. And he loved to see things until it doesn't see it, doesn't really click in his head. He loved the vision. So the vision is happening when he sees something. It's not something you can explain. That's why my prep is about prepping like 100 mood board because we work very much like in commercial, so you really have to present the idea and then you can start to have the conversation, but you really have to go there with your ideas like, so this is what I'm thinking.
And do you work very closely with the costume designer to establish that initially?
Yes. I mean, but like I said, we're like a very strong machine altogether.
Yeah.
So,
And he uses the same costume designer?
yes, I mean, Janti's been with
Janti
Ridley
is
forever.
Okay,
Yes,
yeah.
So he's
God, what a powerhouse of a team he's got around him, isn't he?
they're
Jeez.
incredible. I feel very lucky because I learn a lot from all of them. So it's quite nice when you can see people talented around you. Because I'm that's very clever, and it's buzzing, so it's good. Yes. Yeah.
Gosh. And can I go sort of just briefly on to, just because I'm curious about this, but you did the House of Gucci.
Yes.
Can I ask a question about that, about Jared Leto's makeup?
Sure. Yes.
How'd you do it?
So,
That's a question,
Jared,
eh?
what,
Does everybody know that Jared Leto makeup in House of Gucci? Phenomenal makeup. It was really good.
So Jared was quite particular as a situation because when we read the script, we think, we have a look of the original, character, and we thought, yes, it's bald, it's gonna have maybe, like a bald cap, wig, moustache, but we didn't really think about the prosthetic situation. It was like, not necessarily whatever, because of course Jared looks so much different from the original one. So. But I really want to be like him and really embrace
Yeah.
the prosthetics.
I didn't know
thing.
it was Jared Leto when I was watching it. I
no,
just
but
didn't
nobody
know.
knew
No.
on set as well. And
It's like a best kept secret.
but again, was very short notice as always. So I tried to find, someone was good enough and was willing actually even to take the risk, because when you have such a short time to do what you have to do, it's quite risky. Not necessarily you want to put yourself in that kind of situation. Fair enough.
So sorry, this is just from when. So you're kind of thinking, okay, we're not going to do too much of a mega
Yeah, and then
lookalike thing, and then Jared says,
I say, really
so that
want
gives
to.
you a lead time of how long?
Well, I think it was maybe, I would say 7 weeks,
Wow. Okay.
which is nothing.
So that's wigs and everything that need to be duplicated.
So we started to think about it, and we eventually it was going to do one person to do it, which was amazing. But then, as I rightly say, I feel I'll be nervous about doing in 7 weeks because I'm not sure I can do a good job as I wanted. So I said, oh God, was square one. We don't have the prosthetic person for Jared. Oh, this is a disaster. And then actually, I think through Katsuhiro, Jared proposed to have, oh gosh, what is his name? I have it's prosthetic guy.
Quick Google.
No, I can't think.
Fine.
Oh gosh, what is his name? Anyway, so he proposed to have, this person.
This man.
Yes, this man. And I say, oh, that's great, So I talked to him. I say, how you feel about, doing 7
Coming
weeks?
in, yeah.
I said, no, I think, of course it's stressful, bless him, but I think I can do it. And
he had worked with Jared before.
I don't think he worked with Jared before. But I think, being introduced from Katsuhiro, it was a big thing. So, and Jared trusts Katsuhiro 100%.
Yeah.
So I said, oh my God, I really hope this is going to go well, because, it was very short window. And I remember, as you rightly say, when Jared showed up on set, actually people, they didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
They thought it was like an A
I mean,
actor.
he loves makeup famously,
Oh,
doesn't he? He
It
loves
was
a bit of a
they thought it
disguise.
was like
yeah.
a actor playing, that part. Because I have to say, the makeup, the prosthetic was so... Goran. So Goran did such an incredible job. Even like at this distance,
Yeah,
you
can tell.
couldn't tell
Yeah.
it was a prosthetic. Without talking about lighting, have the right light, it looked just perfect. And bless, he and his team, they work so hard. And it's quite nice when you see someone working so hard and then
And it comes
yes,
off. Yeah.
yeah.
It's so lovely.
It was lovely because you really give everything, and in fact you got like a nomination to the Oscar because of that. Fair enough. But as you were saying about before about choosing for a prosthetic in such a kind of movie, the reason why we could do it because Jared had a very small part as well. So it had different change, or like was just one look, and so it was right, and it was planned in a way we could do it, because if for any reason you had different look, it wouldn't be possible with the way Ridley works. But Garan was incredible.
Yeah.
Really incredible.
It just shows that. This is another thing that you've all got to sort of take into account when if you ever decide to design, don't design. You have much more fun just being in the team. I can assure. Sometimes, it's a lot of designing is literally finding people to do the job, isn't it? It's like working out who your team can be and putting it all in.
Yeah, and be sure they're happy together as well.
And be sure that everybody gets on, because actors on the main makeup bus, your atmosphere has just got to be very neutral and very, it's got to be the calmest place. Totally drama free.
Yeah.
You don't want any drama. Leave all that outside
no
the
big
door.
heads. Thank you very much.
No, and no egos. I think that's my biggest thing. But it's kind of incredible, isn't it? What it's like when you're sort of saying that you can see that makeup so close up. But what you guys do now has come on so much. We had Christian with us the other week, as you know, doing a talk. Who's phenomenal as well. He's just the best. But when you see you guys doing your work, I'll touch on it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'll have a go, and I'm just like, ooh, there you go. But when I see you guys at work, it is like literally phenomenal, isn't it? Like the fineness of the work now is like, I mean, you guys, look, this is what you're doing at the moment, the prosthetics. It's good, isn't it?
It's so important, you know. As I say, I feel my strongest thing, I think, is because I was lucky enough to have this kind of background of prosthetic, which gave me the confidence, you know, if I have to put a piece, I put a piece. It's not like, oh my God, no, I do it, and I know how to do it, and I do it right. So my biggest thing I would say to you, try to learn as much as possible about everything. And then, of course, you're going to find your way. You're going to find what you like most, of course. But it's so important to have strong background, because then when people, they ask you or they question you, you know what to say instead of, oh my God. So it gives you the kind of strength, which if you want to be a designer, this is what you need, because you need to be strong about your idea and what you think and why something doesn't work or something does work. So learn as much as possible for everybody. I mean, everybody. So not just makeup. I say, look around. Look around.
Every day's a school day.
Yeah.
Should we do some of these questions? Quite a few questions in this jar, so I'm going to read out some of these questions. Aha. Making sure I can read.
I thought it was like some candies, man.
No. Sorry, so do you think it's a lucky dip or a raffle? Christian thought he was doing a raffle the other day. He thought he was going to win something. Okay, can you share with us any makeup department anecdotes from filming Napoleon? Were there any challenging situations, but also what were your favourite moments? There's like 5 questions in there, so do you want me to repeat that again?
Okay, so the first one, please.
Okay, can you share with us any makeup department anecdotes from filming Napoleon? Was there anything that happened that sticks in your mind on any particular day?
Well, to me, probably was the... well, 2 big things. I mean, I love makeup. I love everything. But I love when I can play with different things, so give different kind of looks. So for me, the 2 big things was... maybe 3 things, no, 2 big things. Was the coronation, because we have to replicate the coronation, the scene of coronation, and really wanted to look exactly like the painting of David. So I have to be exactly like that. And the DOP, and again, that's what I learned for everybody. The DOP, he decided to don't light this massive cathedral, but just to use the natural light coming through this huge window. And again, because he planned everything so well, he knew exactly when that light was going to be there and when it was going to work perfectly. And I remember look at that, I thinking, oh my God, I mean, this is really happening. It looked so real, it looked so beautiful. It was just like, that's so nice. You think, you know,
it catches your throat when that happens, doesn't it?
And every day, like live music. So the music was live, so it was, you know, was really emotional. And then in the other end was lovely when we shot another scene which is called the Victim Ball, and it's the beginning of the freedom from people after the French Revolution. So it's all about the people from, you know, aristocrats who they escaped from the guillotine. And so they have this massive party, and it's very, you know, kind of decadent and sexy and dewy, and there's a lot of kind of punk kind of looks, so you can play a little bit. So it's when I start this kind of extreme, which is like the coronation, who is the perfection. I mean, it's just perfect, almost oddly perfect. And then you have the Victim Ball, which is like, it's the sexy, dodgy mess of fun. So it's nice to have this kind of 2 extreme. So yes,
brilliant.
Sorry, it was too long.
no, not at all. And the challenging situations, I think we can definitely say, Satinder, that was one of yours, was doing that prosthetic on the last minute, 5 minutes at the side of the stage.
Absolutely.
Well, no,
any others? Any other challenging situations?
Well, you know, was I think was a lot the Russia. I think Russia was the toughest one, because they're supposed to be all with frostbite, you know, covering snow with facial hair, and looking cold. It was a lot to do with not that much time, isn't it? I would say.
Absolutely.
So that was hard for everybody. I mean, it looks fucking great. Sorry for this word, but it was tough. I think it was tough for all of us.
He did change his mind a few times then as well.
Yeah. So, you know, I say, you pull it off, so we can still smiling.
Exactly. When frostbite turns up a lot, by the way, guys.
Yeah.
Just always make sure you know how to do your frostbite. What 3 things could you not live without in your kit bag?
Ooh. So, again, because I love prosthetic, but I love fashion as well, it can be 2 different. So I think I love prosthetic.
Prosthetic, okay,
prosthetic.
it's 1.
And second to 2 different. So I think I love prosthetic. I love the thick blood. You know, the one is kind of jelly, so you can play a little bit. And I really like the 3rd degree. I can do lots of
3rd degree.
Yeah. And about the beauty, everything. But I quite like, you know, like greasy base, and then I can play with that. And but I think I'm well known for is this whirl from Ben High. It was like 4 colors. It's like blue, green, purple, and red.
Is that the bruise wheel?
Yeah,
the bruise wheel. We all love the bruise wheel, don't
it's
we?
like it saved me so many times.
Yeah.
It really did. So.
Yeah. Satinder, have you got 3 things in your kit bag?
I don't know, Leatherman.
This is where it differs quite a lot. Okay, go on.
Blue brush and some good blood.
Good blood is the thing. Yeah. Okay. Grease paint palette. Okay. How did you do your research for Napoleon, and how did your take on the period differ from the previous designs of his era?
Well, I love books, so I've like so many books. My background, I studied like art school, so this is my very first background, and so I love buying. You know, you can do research online, of course, but I always feel like having a book is different. You know, you can see the imagery and you can think about it and you can look at it and then you can flick and then you go back. I don't know. So I've brought like so many books about Napoleon, of course. But again, my biggest goal was to, yes, be truly to the period, but giving my take on that. So although it's a very specific period piece, there's a little bit of kick in a way. So there's a bit, it's not like dusty, boring period. It's cool period. So I try to give a little bit of coolness.
A bit cool, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And did you look at any of the other Napoleon films and
No.
take those? Yeah.
No, I always don't do
Now,
that.
did you
because-
ask? Does Ridley like you looking at other films if it's something
well,
like that, or did he
actually,
not even?
So he was giving as a reference a lot the Duelist, which actually is one of his first movie in the same period of time, because he thought, you know, it was something he could be taken from his movie. And usually, no, he doesn't mind. Actually, he's the one sometimes suggested to watch something to have the vibe and everything. But yes, I have the time to don't look at the movie because I don't want to be put away from what I'm thinking and what is going to be my vision. So I try to keep myself on myself.
Yeah. And it is really easy to get sidetracked, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're doing research. I mean, I love going out and, you know, getting dirty with the whole thing. I love actually sort of touching and feeling things, and you know, I'm not very good on the Google thing. I like to actually go out.
Yeah,
and
like
do,
the material.
I like to feel it,
I really like to when we start to prep. What we did a Napoleon room. I will cool. So it was like a
Brilliant.
room.
Did
just
you have
for
a
him.
researcher with you?
Well, we did, but he was more about the. It was very much more like about the uniform, about, you know, the etiquette. Not so much about. It wasn't really into what we're doing.
Yeah. Someone's been stalking you, I think. You were also Matt Damon's personal makeup artist on one of the films you did. What was that experience like? Who's the Matt Damon fan here?
Okay, don't be shy.
How do you find doing personal? Let's change that a little bit. How do you find doing personal different to designing?
I like it. I think.
You can get home earlier sometimes, can't you?
Well, unfortunately, I always get the very tricky jobs. I don't know why. It's never enough for me. It's like, who can choose one to a difficult one? Jana. I'm here. No, I think.
Was that on The Martian?
Well, I did the Marshall, but on the Marshall was key for Tina, but I was looking after Matt, so I was doing his makeup. And then after that, Matt asked me to do this movie in China with him. And I think it really depends. Of course, it's always work, which is very important. But I think if the movie is interesting and if there's something for me to do, for sure. If the movie is not so much to do on the actor or actress, unless I don't have something else, I will pass because I get very frustrated about don't do anything. But it's lovely when like an actor trusts you. It's a very nice feeling, and it's quite nice to be concentrating one person so you can give 100%. But again, it's funny if you have like a journey to do with acting in the movie. Otherwise, like a little bit dull. I prefer designing. I think design is nicer.
Yeah, I mean, I prefer design. Yeah, I like the safety of a team around me as well.
Yeah,
I like to know that I've got loads of people.
Yeah, it can be a bit lonely. Be a person can be very lonely. So.
Okay, where were the Napoleon filming locations? Now we went over that, didn't we? But let's just see, we've done that already. Okay. Shows how thorough we've been. You worked with Ridley Scott twice on House of Gucci and Napoleon. What are the main differences between these two films from the makeup designer perspective?
And
Gladiator.
Yeah, and Gladiator, yes. Well, part of about Gucci and Napoleon was, of course, Gucci was quite, I wouldn't say a small movie, but it was more like a small story. So we have it wasn't a massive movie. It was more about the actor, about the story of Gucci. It was very much about, the fashion, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. It was really good fun. But I will say it was more like a fashion, cool and clean movie where you don't make your hands too dirty. Napoleon was huge. I must say, when they asked me to do it, I thought to myself, I'm not sure I can do it because there was so, as I said, the amount of crowd was so big with so many different situations, and we're like 147 cast member. 147 is a massive number, and they were all treated like number one, so they all had hair, makeup done, facial. So it was different. It's interesting because sometimes when you start, you do like a job like Gucci, and then you go and do something like Napoleon, you have to readjust your hand in a way. You know what I mean. Sometimes you're still like on the 70s. Actually, no, I have to do like Napoleon, so I have to readjust. So it takes a little bit of time to adjust.
I mean, this question is pretty much the same thing as what did you enjoy most whilst designing House of Gucci, and did the makeup department mostly consist of local Italian makeup and hair artists? But I mean, I would say with the House of Gucci, it was such a different. I mean, you couldn't get two more different films to design, could you? I mean, it's just like, even when I'm looking at that, I mean, I don't know if I could have even bought those off.
But for me, like the Gucci was so cool because when Tom Ford did his first catwalk, I was 20 and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. This is a new stuff. I mean, and I was very much into fashion because I did a little bit of fashion work when I was younger, and fashion was so massive for my generation. It was huge. I mean, you used to buy Vogue Italia and look the makeup, and the makeup was so bold and so different from before. So I remember when we have to recreate the catwalk of Ford for Gucci, I was like a dream come true for me. It was like, oh my god, I know the shit. I love the shit, and it was really good fun. I mean, it was like working again in fashion somehow, but you have to redo everything perfect, which we tried. So.
Which you did. It was a stunning film, that's for sure. What was your most challenging design you did for a character so far?
I think so far, the toughest one was Christian Bale on Exodus still. I lost 8 kilos, so it was really hard. Because it was the number, Tina was designing, but I was looking after Christian, and...
you don't mind an intense actor, do you?
Yeah, and it was a lot because he had like lay-on beard, he had aging, he had like wounds, so I was doing like everything from prosthetic to to breaking down to facial hair to make him look pretty when he was younger. So it was hard. It was hard, but it's still one of my favorite memories. So when you work hard,
well, it's when you pulled it off, isn't it? And it's something that's really lovely between you and your actor as well.
And I think that was the kind of situation where my career kind of changed as well. So I'm always going to be very thankful for that experience.
Yeah.
So.
What is your favourite makeup and hair period?
That's very difficult. I love all of them. Oh gosh, I don't know. I think every period is so different, and it's quite nice to take the challenge to recreate the period. So to me, I don't think I have a favorite one. If you ask me something I would like to do, I would like to do something like on 20s, 30s, because
it was such a great period.
Yeah, I don't know. When I was very young, I was like a trainee. It was my first movie as a trainee. And it was so stunning. So I would love to design instead of be like the trainee, something like that. I would love to do that.
Oh,
yes.
I've always wanted to design a western.
Oh yes, a western. Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yes.
But like a proper old sort of western, like a Clint Eastwood western, or John Wayne or something.
Yeah, the real one.
Something with proper barroom balls and things.
Yes.
That's what I want. Satinder, what would be your favourite design?
Anything gory, I'd say.
Oh, of course.
Medieval, lots of chopped up, smashed bodies.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Oh, did we all watch horror films last night? My son made me watch this flipping terrifying film. I can't remember.
Watch it.
We Living Dead or The Evil Dead Rise or something. The Rise of the Evil Dead. Oh, God, it was awful.
Like my daughter, she always take the nick out of me because I cannot believe you do all this movie and then you cannot watch horrors, and I cannot.
No, I was like that behind a pillar. I hated it all the way through, and then somebody got attacked with a cheese grater. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen that before. That was so easy, and it was like, no. Right, any questions coming in?
We have two. The first one is, how much can you prep before if the principal actor wants something different? How much input can they have versus what is set and signed off before?
Good question.
That's a very good question. I think I was very lucky because I always work with very clever and pleasant actors, and because they're very clever, I always very much respect their taking on their character. So I always feels like I always like when it's a journey together. When we create the character together. I love that. But of course, it's very difficult if they ask you something, very last minute. But usually, unless it's something crazy, you can find a way, or you try to get as close as possible to what they would like to happen. So, yeah.
I mean, it's kind of it's such an interesting question, that, because like every I mean, your actors that we're lucky enough to work with, I mean, they do bring so much to the table anyway.
Yeah.
And they always know, obviously, when they're going to come and when you have your first meeting with them, they've always got an insight into how they can bring the character to life as well. So you really have to sort of listen in to what they've got to sort of say about everything, and then try to kind of put together, if you've been given any notes from elsewhere, and try to kind of push it all together so that your actor is predominantly,
it's very nice, and you want them to be happy and feel the character.
You've got a long journey with them, haven't you?
And again, working with Christian Bale, it was incredible, and again, I was like Matt, and I mean, Joaquin is just amazing. I mean, I have to say, it's like amazing. I mean, it's intense. I wouldn't say
it's
intense,
the thing is
he's a clever man, and every time he comes with an idea, there is always a reason why, and then there is a conversation, and together you found the situation together. So it is important to make feel them heard, because at the end of the day, they are the one that are going to be in front of the camera, and they have to feel like they are who they want to be and how they want to,
and they know
perform.
what they want to bring out of themselves as well. So it's good.
Can I ask you, is there a fine line between is there a point where you stop the actor?
No, you can't. Yeah, no, you have to. No, you have to. I mean, but I think when you do it like in the right way, explain why you're doing it, and because sometimes not all the time, but sometimes you can start to overthink, And when you overthink, I think you lose the vision, and that happened for them as well. So that's why, with Satinder, but that's why I say to Joaquin, I say to him, you don't need a fake nose. I don't want to give you a fake nose. And that was the end of the conversation. But but was something he agreed with me. It was a conversation between us two. So I think it's very important to be honest. And when I say honest, be honest about your job. So
it's also working out what can practically be done, because sometimes your actor will ask you for something which is totally valid, and there is actually always a very good reason to try out all of those options, because it's quite good to kind of have a look to see if that is actually going to work. But then you have to take into account, the longevity of the job, the time it's going to take to do everything, and it's like we were saying before, isn't it? It's the practicalities of being able to do a massive makeup every day. Like when we're sort of saying about Jared Leto, if you know that he's coming in for 3 weeks of that film, then for 3 weeks you can get people to be doing the 3 o'clock start. They've also got, they've got there's rules of the hours that people are allowed to work and things. You've got all of those that the producers obviously are going to be concerned about. There's a lot of things you have to take on board, I think, with every kind of makeup.
And I think it's very important to say even no to the actor sometimes, which it's not like a hard no, but it's like why you say no or you think is wrong. And that's why I say you have to be honest. I don't like those. That sounds awful, but I don't like the kind of design say they always say yes to everything when they don't think actually is right. I mean, you have to be honest and truthful what you think
to build up a relationship.
Rosie,
any more?
What do you look for in a team member?
I think it's very important I always say in my team, yes, there is a kind of different levels. Of course, there is the supervisor, the key, but in the boss, apart from your title, we are all the same. So if I need the key to make someone feel dirty, and it is what it is, you just do it. And we're in together. So I say, I don't want ego, I don't want drama, I don't want gossip, I don't care to know what other people are doing or what's going on in the department. I really don't care. I just want people to be focused on what we're doing in the bus, stay in the bus, and talk when you have something clever to say. Otherwise, don't talk. But we have a laugh. I mean, I don't want to sound like a Nazi. We have a laugh, but this is the foundation is this, and then we can have a laugh. And I quite like people, and that's not easy. I quite like people to be brave. So to try things. I don't like when people they are too afraid to do anything, because then I cannot see actually what you're doing. So I want you to fail, or actually something. Maybe I would say, oh no, this is not quite what I want, but then we found what I want. So I want people to be confident. Yes, and to play together and be like a strong team and look after each other.
Have everyone's back. It's very important.
One more question. Does something like a fat suit fall to makeup or wardrobe?
It is more wardrobe. Yes. Yes, usually it is. Yes.
That's all the questions.
Okay.
Cool. Any of you guys got any questions?
Don't be shy.
I wanted to ask about the what you said about having different teams for the crowd
Yes.
in Napoleon
Yes.
for different cameras.
Mm-hmm.
Is that as in you have like one team who are doing, if it's going to be like a close-up shot, something that's going to be further away, or like how did that work? Like how did you split that up?
Well, the thing is, because there are so many cameras, you cannot be at the monitor, so you don't know what's going on. So you have like a team leader, which usually is the person with more experience, who actually then organize the team underneath them. And it's more about being in control of the situation, see actually what's going on in front of the camera. Because you don't have monitors, it's very hard to understand what's going on. And usually this is something for the crowd, something that the crowd supervisor organized that. So she choose the right people to put in different cameras. And it's a very old school way to be, because when I was younger, we didn't have the monitor. So you used to be behind the camera, do you remember?
Yeah,
and you have to
especially,
be sure you were like on the actor line.
Yeah.
It was like, oh God, and try to see what's going on.
I mean, now you get iPads quite
Yeah.
a lot. But the trouble I would always say with iPads is that you will get, if you're in the middle of the field somewhere, you can bet your life that you're not going to get any reception.
No, it's what
It happens a lot, doesn't it?
Yes, yeah, it's a bit stressful.
And you spend half your life just with
Yeah.
the
Try
big
to-
guys going, can you get me online?
Please.
And actually, you're better off. You know, there is an element of just like, obviously, you need your iPads to do your continuity, and everything goes on box nowadays and everything. But you know, your most valuable asset when you're on set is your eyes, guys. You know, eyes and memory. You know, you just always keep a check on everything and just remember how everything's looking.
Do you remember the old Polaroids? You know, for
Yeah, oh
continuity?
God, I love Polaroids.
So like, you know, now you have thought about everything. I remember I used to have a very blurry Polaroid.
Yeah,
with, like,
and have it under
with
your arm.
the-
Quick, put it under the furniture.
So, yes, I mean, as you rightly say, you know,
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah.
You know, you have to stretch your memory because, you know, someday you don't have the photo, you have
No.
to do it. And
you do
what?
still watch. I mean,
Yeah.
I still watch from camera. You
I
know,
know.
I mean, my biggest thing is I'll kind of sort of like take a glance at the, you know, usually at Video Village, and obviously because we're the designers, so we have a quick look there. And once I've kind of clocked where all the cameras are, I then tend to kind of be looking at from camera angles at everybody and just seeing, you know, what is going on.
Yeah.
And
The-
you know,
the-
hair over here, or it's just that certain things that I'm so used to kind of clocking at in my head, and it's almost like second nature now,
Yeah,
isn't
yeah.
it? And you do that, don't you? You tend to kind of sort of like, you know, because as when you're designing things, you've got multiple setups, multiple cameras, or you know, quite often you've got teams in different places,
position,
haven't
yes,
you?
yes.
And you will sometimes have to go around to different teams and just sort of make sure that they're, you know,
And so
everything's
that if
happening.
you're always looking like at your iPad, you kind of lose the mojo of the set.
Yeah.
So I think it's important to look at the iPad, of course, to see the
Yeah.
frame.
But don't
But
forget to look up.
Yes, I look up and, you know, keep your ears like peeled to what's going on next, because it's always about what's going next.
Yeah.
Don't be trapped in
Yeah.
what is
You should
there.
always preempt the next
Yeah,
shot.
you have to be exactly know what is the next shot, because you have to be prepared for that. If you're looking here and they say, oh, you know, next job is going to be like, you know, a wound on their face, and like, so it's important to be really aware about what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Which is not easy. I mean, especially
That'll
at the
make for happy
beginning.
ADs as well.
Oh,
If
yes.
everybody's all set and ready to go on the
Yeah.
next shot, your ADs will love you as a
Yes.
department.
Yeah, ready
Right.
to go? Done?
Exactly, we're done all over it. Right, any more questions? One last question? No? Yep.
Did you have a quick rocketing? Did you rocket?
Yes, as well. Look, so when I was so I'm Italian. I'm pretty sure you know that. But you know, I started my career back in Italy, and I worked for a very long time with Luigi Rocchetti, who is a makeup designer, but he's also the owner of this wig and facial factoring room. And I worked with Luigi for like 10 years. I started off like a trainee, and then I became like a junior, and then eventually ski. And again, it's like, you know, it's like a mentor to me. He taught me everything about prosthetic, everything about laying on beard, everything. So yes. I mean, it's like family. So yeah.
Right, guys. I think a big hand here.
Thank you so much.
Jana and Satinder. Are we off air? Rosie, have we stopped talking? We're still live. But are we still on?